Did you know that 43% of first marriages end up with divorce? And the higher the number of marriages in your pocket, the higher the chances of getting divorced again and again. As a married woman, I can confirm that the idea of getting divorced sounds just as pleasant as spending a night in an abandoned, haunted old manor. Yeah, I do not recommend it. However, can you save a marriage when only you are trying to save it? What if your spouse refuses to work on your marriage problems and you're so frustrated, fed up, and tired of all the trying that you're on the edge of, agreeing with them? When you've been trying to ignite the change, when you've been talking and switching your approach to problems, when you've been doing your best yet things get worse, do you have any other choice? Your spouse doesn't want to keep doing this thing you label as marriage, but you are not ready to give up on it. Do you stand any chance at saving your marriage if they aren't willing to move a finger to help you? Yes, you do. Even if your spouse has gotten to a stage when they wish nothing more but to live their life without you. Because if something is worth fighting for until there is no fight left inside you, that would be the relationship with the person you thought you would have your forever after with. So in this video, we're going to talk about the ways you can save your marriage if you are the only one who puts in the work. Now, in this video, I will be referring to the works of Dr. Lee Baucom, PhD, who has over 22 years of professional experience in marriage therapy and enjoys a 20+ year-long happy marriage. We will both guide you to get the exact tools you need to make it happen. Let's get into it. Now, let me give you a few statistics that you need to familiarize yourself with. The number of divorces in the US only hits the 1 million mark every year. Almost 50% of married couples will eventually end in divorce or separation. My question is, which 50% do you wish to participate in? The average cost of getting divorced is $15,000, which could grow even higher depending on where you live. The number one cause for divorce? Lack of communication. On average, 43% of first marriages end in divorce, 60% of second marriages end in divorce, and to top it off, 73% of third marriages end in divorce. I will put a link to the source of these statistics in the description box below if you're interested to see more. Now, I don't know about you, but it feels like your best chance at finding happiness with someone is to do your best to save what you have right now, especially if that is your first marriage. Now, let's debunk the myths of saving a marriage. The first one is that both partners must be willing to save it. It is an absolute blessing when both partners want to save their marriage, but that is rarely the case. Therefore, it is a common misconception that when one of the partners doesn't want to work on the marriage, things are heading toward the attorney's office. You can work on improving your relationship with your spouse without them even knowing you're doing it. Small adjustments and commitment can do wonders when you have the right mindset. The second myth is that it is all about poor communication. Now, I know I said that the number one reason for divorce is usually lack of communication. However, listen to this. Effective communication sure helps to work over common problems, but it isn't nearly enough to fix long-term issues in a marriage on the brink of divorce. When you learn how to communicate your feelings better, that is exactly what happens. You express your feelings better. However, that can never guarantee you a better understanding or a change of heart. There is a lot more under the layers of frustration, mismatched values, unmet emotional needs, recurring patterns of conflict, and more. The next myth is that counseling is always necessary to save your marriage. A recent statistic says that 97% of couples attending marriage counseling claim they got the tools needed to solve their problems. However, 38% of them end up divorced within 2 years. Dr. Lee Baucom, a well-known marriage therapist, says that the actual success of marriage counseling is merely 20%. That doesn't give me too much hope when a 60-minute consultation makes me $100 to $200 poorer. However, he underlines that to make marriage therapy work, you want to go the extra mile and supplement the sessions with something more. Talking to a professional about your issues, digging deep, and learning how to work on your relationship is a great way to avoid a broken marriage, but it isn't absolutely necessary and it isn't always effective. Now, if you're willing, to give marriage counseling a chance, please do so. However, do not rely on it only, but rather try everything else that comes your way too. Your marriage is worth giving it your best. Let's talk about 4 ways to work on saving your marriage starting today. When it comes to saving your marriage, even if you're the only one who wants to do it, there is really no time to waste. You've been procrastinating and hoping for the best for a while now, and I do not blame you for it. We rarely understand the realness of a situation until it is almost too late. When you're in a marriage that started with a healthy relationship, there is no recurring infidelity or any other type of abuse, you already have increased chances of making things right a lot. So here are 4 ways to start fixing things. The first thing you want to do is to stop playing the blame game. No more blaming your partner and no more blaming yourself. Marriages often get stuck on a loop of blame that stops any progress. It's easier to point a finger and say it's their fault, or even blame ourselves and think it is all my fault. But here is the thing. Blame might feel good for a moment, but it won't help you fix your marriage. Number 2, seek expert advice. You might feel like you're alone in this struggle, but remember, many have walked this path before you and found ways to rebuild their marriages. There are plenty of experts out there, such as therapists and experienced counselors offering valuable advice. Look for their insights in books, articles, and workshops. But not all advice will fit your situation. Your task is to sift through it all, identify what truly resonates with your circumstances, and discard the rest. Each marriage is unique, and what works for one couple might not work for another. 3. Take responsibility. Decide to act. Change starts with someone who wants things to be different. Taking responsibility isn't about accepting blame. It's about saying, no matter whose fault it is, I can make some changes, and I will. Think about the things that annoy you about your spouse, and what you do that annoys them. Commit to changing those things. Surprisingly, most of us already know what we should do differently. The trick is deciding actually to do it. So decide to take action. Think about it in this way. If you're in a burning building, you won't waste time figuring out who started the fire. You try to get out of the building. When your marriage is in trouble, it's like that burning building. What actions will you take to save it? Unsurprisingly, the 4th step is to actually take action. Doing nothing can be more damaging than making a mistake. It's all too easy to feel paralyzed by the situation. But remember, understanding the problem is just the first step. You've got to take action to make things better. I can't promise miracles, but I can tell you that by following these steps, you'll give your marriage a fighting chance. Remember, it takes 2 to tango, but just one person can take the first step. Start taking action today. Now, there is a video by Dr. Lee Baucom that I'm going to leave a link to in the description box below, and I need you to watch it so you know what your next step is. If you found value in this video, please like and consider subscribing. See you next time.